Ad Astra. So this is a movie about Brad Pitt going into space to find his dad. Mm-hmm. And he plays, I don't remember his name.
It's like
something generic.
Roy McBride.
And he's going to find his dad.
Clifford
in Neptune. Mm-hmm. And, so that's pretty much the plot. Mm-hmm. And I'll start with my gut reaction. This was easily one of the biggest disappointments of the year so far. A few small, short shots of, not small, but a few short shots of spectacular visuals can't save dull storytelling.
I get that. I see, the thing about this movie with me is, like, everything that I've heard everybody say about it is true. Like, everybody's like, yeah, it's slow. And I'm like, yep. Yeah, it's a little pretentious.
That's literally my first note on this sheet right here. It says, this movie is slow with a bunch of O's.
It is a slow burn. But when I say I liked it a lot, that doesn't mean I don't get why people didn't or thought it was boring. Because I totally do. And it's not a movie for everybody. There's shit in it that doesn't make sense. There's shit in it that's weird and goofy. Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of dug it. And I can't explain entirely what it is. I like how much this is basically Apocalypse Now in space. Like, let's just
I noticed that comparison, except Apocalypse Now is a great fucking movie, and this is
it's better. But there's stuff in there's scientific concepts in this, and there's just concepts in general.
I almost fell asleep twice.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Ad Astra, more like Ad Ass Suck.
Oh
no, yeah, I know that's like
that was good.
I was up all night thinking of it. I'm glad it went well.
I'd give it the same rating as this movie.
I'd actually give that joke about the same rating I'd give this movie too. I thought it was a pretty shitty joke. No, but like that's my biggest problem is whatever good that there was, the pacing is a serious issue. Like, and part of that's because there's really only 3 or 4 plot points that matter or go anywhere. Mm-hmm. We'll save some of this for spoilers, but there's a major detour that includes an action sequence, and it's completely unnecessary.
Okay.
And that happens a couple times where you're like, I guess that was kind of cool, but it takes away from it being cool because it didn't end up mattering towards the plot, really.
Sure.
And, I mean, the only genre I think gets away with that, that didn't really matter to the plot, is like comedy. Because sometimes there'll be a scene like, that was unnecessary. It's like, who gives a shit? It was funny.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's just a little easier to get something out of detours in comedy, but detours in action and sci-fi, generally speaking, don't work. They can sometimes, but here it especially didn't and felt out of place almost.
I thought they were, where with comedies you'd say, well, that was out of place and weird, but it was funny. For me, I was more along the lines of, well, that was out of place, but it was at least a cool scene. You know, like, and that's kind of where the Apocalypse Now comparisons come in again for me, is like, there are a lot of scenes in Apocalypse Now, like that fucking scene where they go to like that one camp that's just like fucked and there's like fireworks going off and shit and like people are like in a fucking daze. It's like, really don't need that scene, but it's a good fucking scene.
Yeah.
So again, I totally get it. And I this movie is weird in that regard, and it's not very focused narrative, but I kind of dug it in a weird way.
But like that's the problem is it does that kind of constantly.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of detours.
There's at least 4.
There's one that is laughable. I laughed out loud when I saw it in the theaters, and I'll explain that in spoilers. Another thing, Brad Pitt's performance just was kind of wooden and boring. And I get that, but his character's supposed to be stoic. But the problem is that it didn't really come across that way, if that's what he was going for. It was kind of like, what a dullard. I don't want to follow this guy around. And that's especially disappointing after his turn at Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Sure.
Which was a much better performance. Mm-hmm. As I said, some of the outer space visuals were really fantastic, but they was only for fleeting little moments.
I don't think there's a shot in this that looks bad, which is saying a lot.
Which brings me to another point, is that good cinematography doesn't always save a movie. Like, this movie was a prime example. You could have great cinematography or have really good shots and still have a movie that, well, at least my view, is a piece of shit.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, again, that's where the subjectivity comes in, because like there's a lot of dialogue in this that's not good. But like for
Oh my
me,
god, you mean all the narration?
for me it was like 60-40. I could take or leave a lot of the narration, but
I
a
couldn't
lot of it was
stand
all right.
any of it.
See, for me, as I was watching this, like they could say whatever they could recite the lyrics to "We Built This City," subliminally speaking, and I would just be like, look at stars. Look at is that Pluto? Look at those. Look at that. Like
it drifted back and forth between bad parody-esque film noir and like doing a little too much of the telling instead of showing. Mm-hmm. That's my problem with this narration. Mm-hmm. It's like, and then I went up and got a glass of water. And gets up, gets a glass of water. And then I sat down and thought, man, Boston's first album is kick-ass. No, he's like looking at a poster of Boston. Okay, he doesn't do any of that. But my point is, it's just like, it's like, show, don't tell. Mm-hmm. This is boring. Mm-hmm. And I got that, yes, there are definitely some themes of the isolation of space and all that. Like, I understand that. But theme can't carry a script, and I feel like that's something that happens a lot in movies. Is there's things that are conceptually strong and do come across, but you still have to make the point A to point B of getting there interesting. And
True.
To me, I got the idea of the isolation of space as a theme or whatever, and I understood that they're trying to get that across, but I was just bored out of my goddamn mind.
I get that.
Like, this movie was supremely boring to me. Like, really, really boring. So, do you want to just move on to spoilers?
Sure.
All right. I'm talking about the moon battle. Like, what the hell was that?
That's a great fucking scene, man.
That was, like, the only scene that was, like,
Wasn't that cool? Like, I just
kind
loved,
of, but it just felt like, what the hell was the point of that other than to take Donald Sutherland's character to be like, oh, can't make it, bro. I got hurt in the moon battle. Those moon bandits who we really never see again.
I think it was just to establish like the kind of world that we're in. It's like this is a world where like there's like established colonies on the moon and like roving bands of pirates. Really, I mean it's
yeah, but you could have cut that out entirely.
Then the movie would have been even more boring for you.
That's true.
And like there wouldn't have been that dope ass scene.
That kind of is
them.
a problem. Is if you have the one scene that's any good could have been cut out and it didn't matter. That's kind of a flaw to me.
Sure. Again, this is like a weird Rorschach test where I feel like most people are going to look at this and see like, yeah, this is just really slow and dull. And that's probably what the majority of people felt about this, and I get it. But there's a select few people who are like, I don't know what's wrong with me, and that's me. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just dug it. I dug how cerebral and like weirdly like quiet and subtle and guarded it was. But that's not saying it's an objectively like amazing movie and that everybody who doesn't like it is wrong for doing it.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying like for all the things it did right, it did far more things wrong in my view.
Sure.
Okay, so talking of what they did wrong, the fucking monkeys.
I love that scene.
That was terrible. It's like, is this supposed to be comedic? I laughed, and the CGI on those monkeys looked terrible.
Yeah, that was probably the worst CGI in the movie.
Yeah, which is a problem because, as I said, the one thing this movie didn't do wrong, for the most part, is just the general visuals of things. The outer space stuff was really good.
Holy God.
It's like they wanted to erase everything, like, they wanted to cancel out everything they did well. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, okay, we've got stunning visuals. All right, let's add monkeys in a space station who are eating people for no reason to cancel out anything good about this movie. Let's just add stupid bullshit.
Well, like, you know why the monkeys were there, right?
They're test animals or whatever? Yeah, like, I get that.
But, like, that
who cares?
Seems feasible.
Why did that need to happen?
I don't know. Why did why did there need to be a puppy that got thrown into the river in Apocalypse Now? Like, there's just a bunch of random shit in that movie,
I don't even
too.
remember that shit.
Which version did you see?
I don't know. I think I saw the Redux.
Oh, I don't know if that's in there. Okay. But anyway, it's like, there's a lot of shit that's just like, it's not there because it's important to the main tension of the movie. It's just there because, like, it adds to the tone, it adds to the tension.
See, I was waiting for them to go into the next room and find some giraffes or some skunks.
Dude, that's like...
Oh no, we found the skunks.
Yeah.
They feel threatened.
We found the skunk ship. Get the fuck out.
Oh. Yeah, but I don't know. That was just kind of meh. Mm-hmm. The story about Tommy Lee Jones' character fighting off a mutiny, that kind of sounded like a better movie to me. And sounded like a more interesting story.
Sure.
You know? Like the idea that this guy's crazy and everyone's like, we gotta do a mutiny. Like... Them, again, it was that telling, not showing kind of deal. And I know that there's a way to do that effectively in storytelling, to have something happen off screen. Like Reservoir Dogs. You don't see the robbery at all. Mm-hmm. But the characters are so compelling and interesting. It's like, who cares about not seeing the robbery? Mm-hmm. That's almost an afterthought. Here, I thought all the things they talk about doing or happened in the past, I thought... that would have been a cool scene, or better yet, that would have been a better movie.
Sure. I get that too. It's there's something about like them walking into the aftermath of like that ship and then just like imagining what happened, like you said with Reservoir Dogs, that I thought was a bit effective. But I do get that point too, where it's like it would have been interesting to see it go down instead of imagine it.
My problem is it's a little too late. Mm-hmm. I've just been bored to death by like. I can't even remember what in the hell happens in this. There's so few developments.
It's a weird movie, man.
One, he gets electrocuted on the thing. The gigantic space station survives. Goes to the moon, then goes to Mars, then goes to Neptune. And it's just like nothing happens in between the things I've said that's noteworthy or interesting besides the relaxation room where...
Oh, I love that.
It was funny. There's a couple people next to me, and I guess she must have missed something where Ruth Nega's character explains what it is. But the lady next to me, she said, I don't understand what's going on. Where is he?
Oh.
I felt like if you didn't pay attention, you could get because there's so little to pay attention to for so long. If you miss something, you're like, oh shit, what was that? You just get lost. Let's see. Well, part where Tommy Lee Jones' character agrees to come back with Brad Pitt, and it seemed like rather obvious he was going to turn on him.
Oh yeah.
Like of all the things that this movie. After dragging scene after scene out far too long, what's the scene where they make it super short? Dad, you gotta come back with me. Okay. Are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, it's like
that seems like a rather large turning point. It's one of the like developments. Mm-hmm. Goes to Neptune, nothing happens. Dad, we gotta go home. Okay.
Well, I mean,
even though I'm like clearly batshit crazy.
Yeah, he says it like there's like at least 2 beats where he's like, "No, I don't want to fucking come," and he's like,
"No, I don't want.
You have to."
Okay.
I mean, he does.
No, I'm good. Let's go.
Well, then he kills himself.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Well, this is a spoiler
this
section.
Is a spoiler section. Yeah. So fuck it. Go ahead and tell him things that actually happen.
He kills himself. Yeah. And Brad lets him go because he's like, "Fuck you, Dad. You're not very nice because you're too obsessed with." Developing humanity into something that'll probably never be instead of your own family. Yeah. And that's kind of what I liked about the movie too, is like this felt like a fucking bizarro Interstellar where it's like, no, our future's not in the fucking stars. The stars suck.
It's like there's nothing out there, there's no aliens, there's nothing left to discover.
Yeah, you gotta fucking stay on Earth, motherfucker. And
it's like I thought that part was kind of cool, but like the thing that I thought was the absolute goddamn worst about this movie is
Slow Boat to China.
What? Yeah. How so?
It's just very slow. It's very slow to get to that point.
Well, that's the thing is it's a long walk off a short bridge just to say, oh, cop out. Love is all you really need. What a shitty wild goose chase. Like she gets home, the wife who we've barely seen and don't give a shit about at all. Mm-hmm. Like her character is barely there. Now I'm supposed to care? Thanks, garbage version of Interstellar. I thought it would have been a lot cooler if it was like I don't know, just Brad Pitt's character, and he went crazy, and then he dies just trying to search, and it's like a cautionary tale or something. I thought tragic ending seemed more in line with his character, because he's just like, I'm a dick, I don't have emotions, I'm made of wood, derp-de-derp. Either that, or have him die in space and be like, oh, I fucked up, I should have been there. Like, I don't know, I just thought tragic ending would have worked a little bit better.
Sure.
What
could have been.
Also, real quick, that zero grab fight, awful.
Really?
That was like the Gorn fight, but underwater.
Oh, I mean, I'd imagine it's hard to fight in 0G.
Yeah. I like how he just slips on the ship, too. He's just like, oh, no, it's cool, bro. I can just slip through this rocket, you know.
Stows away.
Yeah, just stows away on a goddamn rocket. That seems a little difficult. And he's just like, oh, no, you just take off this one panel, bro, and you just slip in. It's easy. And they totally don't notice during takeoff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was just not a big fan of this movie.
I get it.
So I guess we'll move on to score. You got anything left to say?
No, I'm mostly just all the reasons you brought up. For some reason, I have no fucking idea why. There were a lot of the pros I had. Like, I really like the deliberate pace.
You like the fact that the last scene has no impact because her character, whoever his wife is.
Which scene?
When he just like shows up, it's like, hey babe, I'm back.
Well,
that has zero impact. It's like that had so little to do with what the movie was.
Well, I think it does, because it's about Brad Pitt. The whole movie is about Brad Pitt trying to like not be a fucking cold bastard, and like he does that by trying to pursue his demons, which is his dad. He's got daddy issues, and in doing so, he realized that his dad doesn't really fucking want him, and he, in this process of kind of coming to grips with his own daddy issues and his own resentment of his own father, he kind of just stops being. He opens up as a human being and realizes, well, fuck, this is kind of the cause of all the issues I've been having in every part of my life, so I might as well just go back home and start over.
Well, if that's the case,
it's not super satisfying.
Yeah,
because we don't see anything about Liv Tyler.
Exactly. If that's the case, then they should have made that a bigger part of the plot, not just like, whoa, this is a science fiction movie. Psych, it's about love. It's always about love. Love is all you need.
Yeah.
It's horse shit. That was horribly done.
I definitely get it.
I could not, I don't know. I thought that scene was super ineffective at the end. I get the whole like, oh, don't be a cold bastard. There's other ways to make a movie about that. Like making it about like some boring like stockbroker or some like basic ass shit like that. Don't make a science fiction movie and be like, but all he needed was to hug his wife every now and then.
Yeah, I get that.
What is this? That's like fucking like seems like an episode of the Brady Bunch. Yeah, I hated this movie. So move on to scores.
Yes,
I'm gonna give it a 1.5. Really hated it. I thought it was far too slow of a slow burn with a horrible payoff. So 1.5 from me.
I gave it an 8. I really dug it. It's not like any other movie that you'll see in the theaters, and that might be a bad thing for you or for anybody. And I totally get that too. People find it pretentious and very guarded and ineffective and just not overly satisfactory or satisfying. I don't know what to say. I greatly admired how weirdly offbeat and subdued it was and how eccentric it was. Yeah. Having just seen Apocalypse Now, I don't know, maybe it's because I saw Apocalypse Now for the first time like a month ago, and I was like, oh wow, this is just like Apocalypse Now. So I gave it an 8. I really, really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And it looks fucking good. Holy shit.
I feel like we're 2 bad movies away from them just never making an original script again.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like this is super original. It's pretty damn close to being Apocalypse Now.
I just meant not. See, I don't give a shit about. It's similar to this. Like I don't care about. I just meant not.
Oh, not an IP
book or any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for our review of Space. Another boring bullshit.